And one thing that Google and Apple have, one thing that Amazon.com has, one thing that any great online business has, or any great offline business. Hey, it's Alex Mandossian here, and I'm glad you decided to watch this video. Now, please subscribe to this channel because we have 3 new videos that come out every single week on ethical influence and sales and marketing. And make sure you click on the bell because you'll get notified when the new videos come out. Make sure you watch this video until the very end because I have something very special for you. All good wishes. Is this automated lead generation? And I even put evergreen, like an evergreen tree. I made it in green. Now, why automated and why evergreen? Because if it ain't automated, it is episodic, like an episode of a TV series. For example, a joint venture is episodic. A seminar that you go to and you promote and maybe get some students or clients or customers or patients, whatever you call them. You can call them members, whatever you call them. That's episodic. You're going on stage. You're kind of trading dollars for hours. Some people do better than others. And then you come back and then you have some more leads. If someone mails for you for a joint venture, that's supposed to be super appealing, and it is. We've made a lot of money doing that, but again, it's episodic. The key to this content and this masterclass is to have an automated lead generation system. You can even teach someone else to do it, even if lead generation is your weakest link. Look, you have your target market, you have your marketing message, and you have the media. Now, where do you go to get evergreen automated leads? It's a system that you have to set up. Now, most people, whether you're a coach or a consultant or a service professional, doesn't matter if you're a bookkeeper, CPA, attorney, or you have a brick and mortar business, you could be an info marketer, an author, speaker, does not matter. Let's just call you a serial entrepreneur. The weakest link that I've observed of my own students in doing business for about 31 years is that they don't have lead generation systems. They don't know how to do it. They think that there's something mystical about it. They don't know the resource to tap into, and that stops today because we want next year to be your best year ever, and there's no better time than to start now. I'm going to give you access to a tool that you don't even need to know how to use, but that's a different story. Stay tuned. I'll be giving that in about 28 minutes. Now, why is this called the art and science of lead generation? Well, the art of lead generation is to pre-qualify your prospects. If you don't pre-qualify them, you get rejected, right? And science is the automation part. So write this down. It's super important because the art part is the way you have an intake or an assessment or a quiz to pre-qualify to make sure you have the right kind of leads, right? Now, once again, if you're a service professional, entrepreneur, author, speaker, not every lead is created equal. Not every lead will warm up to you just as fast. So that's the art part, right? You want the art to work for you. But the science is just as important as how to automate it. We're not calling this a joint venture. We're not calling this a stage presentation or a webinar. That's super important. But making it automated, which means you don't have to touch it, and evergreen, which means it's ongoing, well, that's like going to heaven without the inconvenience of dying. So here's the question. What's the number one, not 2 or 3, what's the number one problem with lead generation? Let's say that you get leads. What's the number one problem? You ready? Here it is. Rejection. Now, I know lots of coaches. I know lots of consultants. I know lots of entrepreneurs, info marketers, internet marketers, network marketers. Pick a marketer. Every business is a marketing business. Dentist, chiropractor, podiatrist, doesn't matter. Everyone needs to market in order to get new patients, clients, students. But rejection is the number one problem because the art of lead generation is forgotten. Pre-qualification. We spend about 80% of our time pre-qualifying, and then about 20% of our time converting or selling. Now, we do that through a very special methodology, and we'll go deeper into that in a little bit, but this is not just about pre-qualification. This is about automating automating the lead generation system you have. Now, in the general business of things, most people spend about 20% looking for leads, and 80% of the time they're fulfilling, converting, pre-qualifying, right? That's the big picture. We want to flip that. We want your business to spend 70, 80% of the time looking for lead generation. It's like the oxygen that gives life. It's the life force of your business. And yet most people don't know where to go. They don't know what to do. They think it's some mystery, some mystique that's out there to get cold leads, then warm them up, then get them hot and get them to the boiling point so they become ongoing buyers. So I want to share with you 3 strategies, just 3. I could share 7, but we don't have enough time. So keep watching. The first strategy is, what do you do to automate? Now, in order to automate something, it means you set it and forget it. It doesn't mean that you keep tweaking it. Now, initially, you tweak it until it works, and then it becomes a control system for you. And when it's automated, it just keeps coming in, it being your lead flow. And as one of my friends and mentors, Dan Kennedy, says, lead flow is deal flow. That's what you need. You need lead flow, and that's called a system. So here's what you need. You need a lead resource to automate, right? You need a VA. Now, what does VA stands for? It's called virtual assistant. What does PA stand for? That's personal assistant. What does EA stand for? That's executive assistant. Well, the least costly assistant for me is a VA, because it can be anywhere in the world. Many times a personal assistant comes into the office, and an executive assistant is a little higher, echelon, and they're managing other people. All a VA does is typically 1 or 2 things, maybe 3 things. So it's important, in order to automate this thing, to have a VA who does the work, and one that you've vetted. And then, of course, you need a lead magnet to attract the traffic from the lead source, right? Are you with me? You have to catch it with a mechanism, whether you use ClickFunnels, Infusionsoft, One Shopping Cart, Ontraport, we use ClickFunnels, right? But whatever it is that you use, you need something as bait, to catch fish. You don't feed fish, you catch fish by baiting them. That's what's called a lead magnet, as the leads are attracted to it. And when they say yes, and it's a high perceived value and it's easily consumed, then you build your list. And then that lead generation process ends up going from ice cold to warm to hot to boiling. And with boiling, you have steam. With ice cold, you have ice. That's the process we want to take you through. Now, the second strategy is to make it evergreen. Now, Alex, you may ask me, all right, what's the difference between automated and evergreen? Automated means you don't have to touch it, right? You touch it initially, you get it set up, but then you go on and work in your business, and it is working on your business. Evergreen means it keeps working and working and going, like the Ever-Ready. The Ever-Ready bunny? If you're out of the country, you probably don't know what it is. This little pink bunny that walks around. There were commercials maybe over a decade ago. It keeps going and going and going, right? Well, that's what evergreen means. And my definition of evergreen that's online is 3 to 5 years. That's 36 months, 60 months if you have a world-class evergreen program. I've had direct mail that's been evergreen. I've had online content that's been evergreen. And so evergreen means it's going on and on and on. And if it's automated, boy, you got it all. But do you? Well, what do you need for it to be evergreen? You need a lead resource. You got to pull the leads from somewhere. You can't just pull them from heaven. You got to pull them from somewhere that's reliable and that is not going to be tapped out, right? It's got to be a source or a pool or a body, an ocean of leads that will keep supplying you with the food to your business, the lifeblood, the oxygen. It's like water, right? If you're parched, you can't really live for more than 2 or 3 days without water. Food, maybe 2 weeks, right? Oxygen, maybe 3 minutes, but with water, it'll take maybe 3 to 4 days and you're done, right? And so water, oxygen, food, that's what lead resources are. That's where you're pulling the leads. Now, what do you need in order to make it evergreen? Well, you do need a VA, because that VA has to tweak it. He or she, hopefully outside of the US, And they have to be vetted. I mean, there are high quality VAs in the Philippines that big companies like IBM and Xfinity and a lot of big businesses in the US use, also in India. But if they're not vetted, they're no good. It's not a matter of the country. It's an English speaking country is what you want, but they have to be vetted. Vetted means they're pre-qualified. And then of course you need a lead magnet with an evergreen lead generation system. It has to have a lead magnet in order to get the yes and opt in. And that's the beginning, from ice cold to warm to hot and then boiling. Are you with me? Are you taking notes? Okay, millennials, this is called a pencil. Now this pencil is better than this pencil. Why? Because this one has been used. This one has not. Don't be a perfectionist. Don't be a procrastinator. Whoever owns this pencil, that's me, but I'm trying to make a point. Actually, I'm making a point without a point. This has not been used. Perfectionists, procrastinators, those are the two P's. They're the evil twins. I want you to do this. Look, it's used up more. There's a lot of wisdom here. Well, if this is wisdom, right, then what's this? Well, this is probably knowledge and this is wisdom. So we want to use it up. And there's a lot more know-how here. This is what I look like in my mind when it comes to marketing. I have made all the mistakes. Okay, my eraser is worn out, which means I know what not to do. And what I do know is that you need the third strategy to make things work is pre-qualification. Now, pre-qualification means no matter what business you're in, you're pre-qualifying your leads for your business. A dentist should pre-qualify differently than a chiropractor. A chiropractor pre-qualifies differently than someone in financial services. Someone in financial services pre-qualifies differently than someone in network marketing. Someone in network marketing pre-qualifies differently than an author or a speaker or an event marketer, right? Pre-qualifying processes are all based on your business. Are you with me? And it's easier to pre-qualify than to find an automated evergreen lead source. Pre-qualification is a lot easier to do. It's a lot easier to reverse engineer. You can just watch your competitors, you go through their process and then just kind of borrow. You know, if you steal from one, that's plagiarism. If you borrow from many, that's research. So be a researcher. Now, what do you need to have a great pre-qualification system? Big surprise, the same big three. This is like the marketing trinity, the trifecta. You need a lead resource to pre-qualify. You need a virtual assistant in order to set that up so you don't have to. You can work in your business and the VA can work on your business, right? Let them do all the busy work. And then you need a lead magnet, once again, because a lead magnet by itself will pre-qualify the leads that come in. Okay, if you sell 100 candle wicks at a time, that's a different pre-qualification lead base than selling one wick at a time. 100 wicks at a time, you may have a candle store or a candle distribution company, right? One wick at a time, you may just be a hobbyist and you want to make some candles, you know, with your kids. Now, I have a friend, his name is Perry, and I think arguably he sells the most candle wicks, you know, on earth, but he sells them en masse to people who sell them en masse. So your lead magnet and your pre-qualification process will determine the type of customer, student, client, whatever you call them, patient that you have. Are you with me? All right, here's the question. Why do the majority of entrepreneurs feel stuck getting leads? Let this sink in for a moment. Why? Okay, don't be in denial. Never underestimate the power of denial. I looked at this question when I wrote it, and I wrote stuck in red because stuck is yucky, right? Why do most entrepreneurs, the majority of entrepreneurs, feel stuck with getting leads? I asked myself that question. Why should it be so difficult? Here's the answer. Because they have no lead source, because they have no vetted VA, and they have no lead magnet. Hey, it's Alex again, and thanks for watching this video. Now make sure to get that very special gift I promised you. I want you to grab your mobile phone and text the keyword you see on your screen, and text it to this phone number, 415-980-3555, and make sure you stick around for another video coming up.